Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Alfred Hitchcock's Die When for Murder from 1954. So yes, we are back once again, finally here, I must say, to discuss this Hitchcock film. My second watch very recently, and yeah, just of course, can't wait to talk about this film. Very excited today, and it's a film. I'll say it now. I truly adore this film, and I can't wait to discuss this film and to share my thoughts, on why I love this film so much, and break it down, of course. But first of all, we must say a spoiler warning for this discussion, this video here. It does come with that kind of warning once again. And yes, if you haven't seen this film, I highly recommend seeing it and then coming back to this video, and from there we can go, talk about this film. In the comments and all this, and you can watch this without being given spoilers. So yes, with all that said, let's dig in, and yes, we'll go back to the kind of initial phase of me seeing this film. It's a film that I've not seen. As I say, my second watch. I only rewatch. Being very recently, and finally reviewing this film. It's one of the ones I saw that, I guess, one of the early ones that I actually saw for the first time, of course, by Hitchcock, because I'd seen, I always say this, I'd seen about 3 Hitchcocks when I was very young, and, especially, for example, Psycho and The Birds, I did rewatch quite a bit, a lot, North by Northwest. I'd seen this quite a few times, Psycho, I was always rewatching that film, but, it took me a while to actually then venture out and, kind of expand into, his real kind of meat of his filmography, because a few films, and he's made over 50 films, of course, and so yeah, I think 2016, 2017 was when I really started kind of digging into the films that I'd never really seen, and of course rewatching as well. I started to rewatch some more of them again, and yeah, just Rear Window, though, Vertigo, all these films, and of course Die When for Murder, and a few that I watched around this time, 2017, it was kind of September, October, November that I was watching quite a few of these, and yeah, of course, The Lady Vanishes, The 39 Steps, seeing that all the way through, of course, then, and yeah, Rope. This experience of just seeing quite a few, I must say, for me, some of the best Hitchcock films, this was just an experience like no other, and I think Die When for Murder, perhaps at once it kind of got brushed aside as a film that I truly loved and it blew me away. I think for the record, we'll say it now, a masterpiece. And I thought that instantly. But I think seeing films like Rope, even, and kind of Lady Vanishes and all these, Notorious. I think they kind of they were the ones that blew me away a bit more at the time than watching this film. And I put it a bit lower on the ranking, although certainly I called it a masterpiece, and on my favourite films list, but I didn't really, again, I haven't rewatched this film until very recently, and those others that I mentioned, I watched a few times since, so yeah, it's a very interesting, but nevertheless, the experience that I had, in 2017, it stayed with me, and I was just, it had that really, the kind of feeling that I couldn't put my finger on it, at times as well, just that kind of comforting feeling that I get from films like this. I just love the way in which the dialogue flows, in this, and I think the lighting and just the kind of the charm of the characters and the way they are talking, interacting, and I think a kind of jolly thriller, dark thriller, you could say, very fascinating. But Hitchcock done this. Rope as well, very disturbing and dark film, macabre film, but it is that, fully charming, I mean, to call these films charming is an understatement, and I just get so much comfort from these films, despite them being, unbearable kind of levels of tension at times. And it's one of those films, of course, being based on this stage play, of course, and in that sense, it's a very, there's only a few locations once again in this film, and mostly, you must say, kind of set, in this in the living room of their home, of course, and just kind of, there is a few more locations in the film, but it's mainly around this this home, and yeah, just the different rooms, and how of course a certain event takes place, as we know, and it's about the consequence of this, and how things are kind of going on, and it's mostly in this room though, and there's this home, of course, and where they're staying, and yes, of course, we have this being we must note, yeah, just mainly being shot for this 3D effect. Obviously, this was a 3D film. It was made to be primarily a 3D film, and yeah, very interesting, of course, because '53 was when this you could say this kind of this mini phase of you know, and this kind of trend of, you know, 3D films coming in, and yeah, it didn't really last too long, and you know, kind of 54 this was released, and you know, it's kind of a tail end, you could say, of this first phase of 3D, and obviously 3D came back, but it took many decades for it to kind of you know, come back once again in the sense of, you know, popularity, and you know, it's very interesting. Of course, this film was, you know, kind of designed around this, you know, for this, and you can see that clearly when you watch the film. You know, I must note I haven't seen the 3D version. I don't really watch 3D films, and you know, there's a 2D version on the Blu-ray, so you know, I went with that the first time round when I had access to the film, and this time round, you know, for physical media, I did go for the 2D version, and despite that, you can see, you know, how different things, you know, kind of popping, even without the 3D, and you know, how he has designed this, you know, around, you know, this kind of effect, and it's really fascinating to see, and you know, I must say, very interesting, you know, but I will say now, you know, with all sincerity, I don't like 3D, you know, I don't watch 3D films, and you know, it's not, you know, I refer mainly to, you know, modern films, going to see a film, you know, in the cinema and all this, and just, you know, to see a 3D film, you know, I just go to watch a film because I'm interested in film, you know, I want to see from said franchise, filmmaker, etc., and you know, want to be immersed in, you know, in an experience. Not, I know, you know, it can be an immersive experience in itself, you know, for some 3D, but I've never ever been, you know, a fan, and you know, I remember when I was a kid and I saw you know, my first 3D films, you know, I was shown this by family, you know, I just wasn't really, you know, that, you know, kind of into it, you know, I just wanted to kind of, you know, get back into the film. It kind of took me out of it, and yeah, I've never been a fan of, really, you know, for the most part, seeing films in 3D, and it's always, for me, you know, kind of just a gimmick, you know, kind of now that I refer to. Having said that, I think this is one of the cases, the rare cases, where it does seem like there was some real thought put into it, and you know, just real kind of interesting moments in this film. You know, I think even, as I say, watching the 2D version, it's anything but, you know, flat. You know, this film, and I think, yes, it's not, you know, a film that is, you know, kind of as layered visually as some of his films, Hitchcock. But you know, it's Hitchcock we're talking about, and I think this film really is very. It has a lot of depth, more than I think. You know, it's kind of described as, and you know, when I first saw this film, I was very surprised. You know, it just blew me away, and you know, I thought, wow, that truly is, you know, a masterpiece. And you know, I think it did get, you know, as I say, you know, kind of, you know, I saw many different films around this time, first time by Hitchcock, and rewatched a few of my favourites, and I guess in that sense, you know, it kind of having not rewatched the film until now, you know, it's one of those that were kind of left behind, but now, you know, it's kind of once again blown me away all over again, and you know, I think this truly is a masterpiece, and you know, I think it has now, you know, grown a few slots, actually, you know, kind of climbed a few slots in my ranking for Hitchcock, and you know, therefore, you know, going up even further on my favourite films list. But yes, this film, you know, starts out with you know, a few lovely conversations. Of course, you know, Grace Kelly stars in this film. You know, wonderful actress, and you know, just of course as Margot, and we have Tony being played by Ray Milland, and you know, he is essentially, yes, the villain of this film, and you know, it's interesting because once again I got that feeling, you know, he's such a charming character, the way he talks and all this, you know, this smooth guy, but you know, he is the villain. He is plotting a murder, you know, of his wife, and you know, it's very dark stuff to inherit, of course, her fortune, you know, to kind of gain her fortune, of course, you know, and just kind of this elaborate, you know, kind of plan that he's been planning this for months and months, and you know, finding out that she was, you know, having an affair, but you know, he takes this to the extreme, and you know, plans, you know, this murder, and despite that, you know, he is just a charming character. You know, it's this jolly, you know, jolly Tony, you know, in the way he wants to, you know, kill his wife. You know, really insane character. But you know, there's such a charm to this, the smooth way in which this unfolds, the dialogue. You know, yet it's so kind of tense. This film, you know, very intense in different places, and you know, once again, you know, there are actually as well, you know, very long stretches, you could say, of, you know, just, you know, kind of basic, you know, setup, you know, just, we have master shots, and we have, you know, reactions, of course, but you know, just simple dialogue scenes, and you know, the dialogue itself is stunning, and I think just how, you know, once again, I was kind of so immersed in, you know, for example, you know, Tony, you know, Charles Swan, you know, of course, played by Anthony Dawson, you know, who is great in this film, of course, being in Doctor No as well, famously, and you know, just this character here, you know, kind of being blackmailed really into actually, you know, being the one to carry out the murder, of course, of Margot in their house, you know, all this massive plan, of course. But you know, just the way in which he kind of, you know, that conversation starts, you know, slight menace to it, you know, and kind of underlying tension, you know, mystery, and then you know it escalates, and you know, to the point where, you know, it's just you know, kind of this tension, you know, and this kind of tragedy. Already you can kind of predict what is going to happen in a way. You know, it's not going to go according to plan, of course. Famously, you know, setting up early on, you know, this line, Grace Kelly saying, you know, about, you know, a perfect murder, and you know, this is a theme that kind of runs throughout, you know, a variety of Hitchcock films in some way, and you know, Stranger on a Train as well. You know, this kind of idea, and you know, what he does in this film, where he kind of takes it, you know, is genius, and you know, I think you know, that dialogue scene though, that massive sequence where it's just these two characters talking, you know, that is just so enthralling, and you know, I'm so sucked in, you know, I'm on the edge of my seat, you know, just kind of so immersed in, you know, and kind of visualizing different moments. Of course, the two characters know each other, you know, they were kind of acquaintances slash friends, you know, in the days of Cambridge, of course, college, and yeah, just, you know, it's very you know, interesting, and it's really quite sad how, you know, he drags in this character, you know, of Charles, and then of course he meets his end, and you know, despite that though, you know, this film really makes you think, you know, about the morality, and you know, very disturbing film at times, and you know, I think just the fact that Tony goes to such extremes, you know, he is such a kind of, you know, what a villain he is, you know, he kind of manipulates every single character in some way, and the way though in which, you know, he kind of, it starts off very innocent, that conversation, and then he kind of reels him in, you know, Charles, and then he is the one who kind of sends him to his death, you know, despite that, you know, there is that feeling of, you know, he still went along with it, you know, Charles, and he was about to kind of murder, you know, Margot, of course, and yes, she had been having an affair, but you know, this is an extreme, you know, kind of you know, reaction, you could say, and you know, Tony is just, you know, he really commits to this plan, and even when, you know, we have things going wrong, you know, of course, you know, because the perfect murder does not exist, as you know, it's kind of hinted at, you know, the answer is already given really in that moment, but yeah, it's just, I think when things start to go wrong, then he changes things up, and he doesn't just back down and you know, kind of reveal things, you know, kind of crumble. You know, he goes all the way until, you know, he's in the end killed himself, and it's that kind of, you know, kind of ironic, you know, tale of events, that kind of poetic justice really, you know, the film plays with, and I guess that kind of feeling of, you know, being caught, you know, the fear of being caught, you know, for Margot, and of course Mark, you know, Robert Cummings playing Mark, and you know, I think this relationship, for example, you know, you don't really want the, you know, this relationship to be revealed, you know, what happened, you know, the affair to different characters, for example, you know, the inspector, and you know, of course, played by John Williams, you know, a great character who we'll get to, of course, but yeah, all these different characters you can kind of feel, you know, relate to, or at least kind of feel something for all these characters, and you know, even you know, kind of Ray Milland's you know, villain of Tony, you know, there is this kind of, you know, kind of hopelessness to the way, you know, his character constantly tries throughout the film, thinks he's kind of getting one up on the rest of the characters, and we know, you know, in the end something is going to happen, you know, with this character, and he's going to be caught in some way, and there is that kind of dramatic irony that runs throughout this film geniusly, like many Hitchcock films, and you know, I think this the kind of the information this time round, you know, is revealed in a very different way to what we get, you know, in different Hitchcock films. Of course, visually, yes, you know, we get the key, for example, you know, and the kind of the way in which we have push-ins, we have different moments, you know, that kind of, you know, kind of drawing our attention to different items. Of course, you know, the handbag as well. But you know, the key in this film, you know, it's like notorious. You know, another kind of use of, you know, an item in cinema. The Hitchcock kind of, he does this in such a way, you know, it really is genius, and you know, visually, of course. But then we get, you know, the way in which this whole kind of, you know, this whole kind of middle act really is kind of predicted or revealed to us. We're kind of imagining this in our head through the dialogue, in the sense, you know, he is giving pretty much the entire plan, you know, to, of course, Charles, you know, they're playing this together, but you know, it's Tony, you know, we kind of, we're aware of all the kind of all the plan that he has kind of you know, thought out, you know, of this, and you know, all the different specific things that, you know, for example, Charles has to do, you know, hide behind the curtain. You know, I could happily recite, you know, this you know, this plan, but you know, we'll kind of we won't do that now. But you know, just I think you can understand what I'm saying with you know, the whole way in which it's so, you know, kind of investing, you know, kind of before, you know, it actually happens, and then when it does happen, you know, this murder we'll get to now. You know, of course, Grace Kelly, you know, Margot, of course, answering the phone, and you know, she's saying hello, you know, constantly, and there's no answer, of course. Cutting back to you know, Tony, who's just kind of you know, struck with this, and you know, instantly they kind of feel, is he regretting this or not? You know, what is, you know, the reasoning for this this kind of jarring effect that he's had? You know, the kind of the shock on his face. You know, and how he is he regretting this? Does he kind of want to change? You know, this and kind of reverse this? Hearing her voice, for example, and you know, is he kind of wanting to go back? But of course, he realizes, you know, that perhaps he can't, and you know, it's too late. But you know, there's that kind of sense of guilt instantly there. I feel perhaps, and despite that, you know, we have the plan in our head. We've listened to these two talk for quite a length of time, and you know, here's the murder, of course, and you know, Anthony Dawson, you know, kind of the character of Charles coming up behind Margot, of course, and you know, she's again, you know, answering the phone, you know, and just kind of trying to see if there's anyone there. You know, she can hear something, but you know, you're not getting any, you know, talking back, and you know, this constant, you know, hello, and then of course, you know, the actual murder, the attempt, of course, and things go wrong, and when things go wrong, you know, it's that kind of genius way in which Hitchcock has, you know, set this idea up. We know so much information that we can't get this idea out of our head, and you know, it's this. It's firmly rooted, I guess, you know, if you, that is, if you're invested in this, of course, this first act, you know, I certainly was, but yes, it's rooted firmly in our minds, and then, of course, when it goes wrong in any way, you know, I think, you know, it's kind of this jarring effect, the shock, and this unnerving feeling, and, you know, really, every single thing goes wrong, you know, for Charles, and then he is, you know, brutally killed himself, and, you know, the scissors, of course, and, you know, this moment, you know, wow, you know, I think it's just kind of satisfying feeling, you know, that you know, of course, Grace Kelly's character is not killed, but you know, it's, you know, kind of tragic as well, you know, kind of this hopeless way in which Charles goes out, and he was, of course, you know, this criminal, but you know, Tony really took advantage of that, you know, this small-time criminal, and you know, kind of blackmailed him into this murder, and I think, thinking back as well, you know, just the whole kind of sequence where they're talking together, you know, one of the genius moments, you know, in the film is when, of course, the letter is dropped, and Charles goes, you know, there's kind of this courteous, you know, kind of interaction here. You know, he picks it up and he gives it back to Tony, and that is, you know, that is it. You know, that's he's got his fingerprints on it, and that moment there, and that smile, that reaction from Tony, wow, you know, that is a genius moment in this film, and I think it's moments like this that really, it kind of just, you know, it makes me want to clap, you know, what Hitchcock's doing here, but, you know, seeing, of course, how, you know, Charles had then killed, and then, of course, Tony, you know, has to change things up, and, you know, from then, he is constantly trying to, you know, escape this, and, you know, kind of weasel his way out, you know, of this scenario, and then, of course, the inspector is on the case, and, you know, John Williams playing this inspector, and I must say, one of the things that really makes, you know, this second half, you know, is this character, and his interactions, of course, with all these characters. You know, he's slowly catching on to, you know, Tony, and you know, something not being, you know, quite as it seems here, and also at the same time, kind of slowly unraveling, you know, what happened with Margot and Mark. You know, of course, and their affair that they had, and trying to, you know, she is, of course, she's been told to by Tony to kind of lie in some way, and that kind of changes things up as well. And it's not, you know, simple. She's kind of playing innocent, you know, kind of revealing all information to the inspector, because of course she has been told, you know, and she's kind of fearing as well of this, and you know, she has other things on her mind as well, obvious things, and yeah, it's this complex kind of situation, you know, all these different interactions, and you know, consequence, and how it kind of plays into, you know, the characters, you know, being well, the fearing of being caught, you know, of course, this fear of being caught out, you know, I've said, and yes, I think it all kind of works so wonderfully, all these themes, all these kind of ideas, and, you know, I think motives, you know, of all the characters, and, you know, kind of, it leads to many of their undoing, of course, and, you know, it does lead to you know, Tony's demise, and you know, it's a very you know, it's quite tragic, this film, and at the same time there is this satisfying ending, you know, of Margot and Mark, at least, and you know, that she is at least you know, alive, and you know, because yeah, it's just you know, Tony kind of putting together this you know, really evil, you know, kind of plan, this mastermind, of course, you know, the whole film, and you know, this kind of trying to get revenge as well, just the greed of wanting to inherit, you know, the fortune, you know, of Margot, and you know, him trying to, you know, get this tidy sum, and you know, of course, it does not go according to plan, and there is the kind of satisfying feeling of that, you know, that Tony does not, you know, kind of, you know, he is not successful, I guess, in that sense, but there is the kind of, you know, complex outcome for all the different characters, the bittersweet, you know, kind of ending, really, and that underlying kind of guilt that, you know, Margot's feeling, of course, and you know, naturally, and you know, this moment at the end, just that final you know, kind of scene there, you know, I just love it. It's kind of comforting, but you know, it is that kind of dark edge as well, and that real kind of macabre feeling of the whole, you know, final act. But you know, it kind of, it's felt by these characters, and I think the acting in this film, you know, Grace Kelly, wow, she was just one of my favourite actresses, and you know, I think you know, Rear Window, To Catch a Thief, this film, you know, the collaborations, you know, of course with Hitchcock, you know, truly, you know, absolutely stunning stuff, and you know, I think Ray Milland in this film, you know, is just perfect, and you know, of course, you know, Robert Cummings as well, you know, so charming, and you know, a very likable character as well, and I think the scenes later on in the film, especially, you know, he is just so great in this film, and you know, really, I think so much complex emotions these characters have to kind of deal with, and you know, it's this thriller film. It has a very simple setup, but you know, it becomes more and more kind of you know, complex. You know, in the emotions, you know, and the characters, you know, kind of struggles, and what they're kind of forced to react to next, and you know, the situations they're put in. But I think at the same time, we have all the, you know, as the layered kind of wonderfully developed characters, we have, you know, this very elaborate plan that we're constantly kind of thinking of details, and of course, the key being placed, you know, under the carpet, and you know, it's such an elaborate plan that, you know, of course, you know, it's all too perfect in that sense, because one wrong move and then the whole thing can kind of go wrong, and of course it does in a glorious fashion, and you know, I think this film truly is perfect for me. You know, I love every single aspect of this. You know, the lighting as well, very kind of warm colour tones, and the lighting itself, you know, is just wonderful. You know, I love the soft focus at times as well, and just the way in which we get so used to this kind of main location, you know, this home that they're kind of living in. You know, such a kind of comforting, you know, feeling I get, but also, you know, the uneasy feeling when things, you know, for example, you know, we have an intruder, you know, with, you know, Charles, and you know, when he comes into it, you know, it's kind of this. There's something. It's like you're kind of so immersed. You know, it's like your own home, and then someone's coming in to try and commit a murder that you know exactly what he's trying to do, and it's this constant, you know, kind of uneasy feeling, and these shocking moments. And you know, when I first saw this, I didn't quite know. You know, I knew something would happen. You know, that's the thing. The genius about this film, constantly, you know, kind of foreshadowing. You know, this kind of a ton of events, really, you know, and things are not going to go according to plan, but, you know, not quite knowing how, you know, this is going to happen. And the first time I saw, you know, for example, the attempted murder, of course, you know, I was just, I was shocked, you know, I was just blown away by this, and how it happened, you know, and just the way in which, you know, Charles slips there, and of course the scissors, you know, all these different moments, these key objects, of course, that Hitchcock just, you know, he sets up, and you know, just masterfully, you know, the execution of all these different, you know, scenes, big sequences with very specific details, items, and you know, it's just the way in which he, as I say, implants these ideas in our mind. You know, we're imagining this. I like reading a book and then, you know, seeing it play out, you know, fully, and you know, things then not go according to the plan. It's the genius film, this, and I think the push-ins as well, you know, I'm not just revealing, you know, key items, but, you know, the push-ins to different characters, in this film, the angles, he's doing so much with, for example, a very not limited but small set of locations, of course, and he's just elevating this like he done in Rope, of course, and Rear Window, a slightly different way in this film, of course. This being, as well, like Rope, though, being, kind of based on a stage play, really is genius, and I love these films, these three films that I mentioned, and Die On For Murder truly is unique, though. It kind of has that similar feeling, in the use of location, but it's a very, very different film, and it's a very, very bold film, I think, and unique. I just think the character of, Margot as well, is so fascinating, and I just love Grace Kelly in this film. The elegance, as well as just the kind of playfulness, just like in Rear Window, and the way she is kind of, she's presenting this character, and all the kind of what the motives. Of course, there's things going on. All these characters have got kind of flaws, traits wise, and they're not apologising in that sense, but they're feeling something for this, and it's a really such an interesting way in which, for example, Grace Kelly is playing the character, this complex character, but such a likable one to me, and so kind of the variety of emotions later on in the film. This is certainly one of her best performances, and I think Anthony Dawson, for the kind of relatively small appearance that he makes, really, of course, as we know, being after all kind of killed off fairly early on, in the film, but he is a standout. Just his face, in this film, and just the kind of how much I remembered, this kind of set of events, from my first watch, and that is just, of course, the acting of Anthony Dawson, just this quiet, kind of underlying, menace, but the sadness on his face as well. All these different characters. There's so much going on in this film, and different themes, of guilt, justice, of course, being a big theme, in this, and how it's explored, and how truth, I think, and not revealing different things, due to your own motives, kind of leads to a spiral effect. It's such a kind of fascinating, once again, character study. It's a thriller, of course, with this, this plan, a murder taking place, being planned, and then things go wrong. But it's also to kind of bring out these emotions, to kind of, act as this character study, and getting to once again human emotions. The root of why different people are doing things. Of course, for money, for kind of trying to save their own skin, all this, in some way, all of the characters, the main characters, are kind of, weaseling their way through, but, at the same time, it's such a kind of, they're all likeable in some way, at least, as well, Tony being just this charming, classic character, a jolly character, kind of trying to commit this murder, so there we have, this balance of, humour, I think, as well, in the film. John Williams really adds a lot of humour, and I think Tony, just the way in which at times he's trying to get out of situations, it's hilarious. It really is. I must say that, and just kind of laughing with this, laughing along with it, and just this wonderful ride, thrill. Of course, a love story, a love triangle. Of love that cannot be, and love that may go on, but it's kind of always going to perhaps be tainted, this relationship, by what has happened here. The guilt, perhaps, not fully revealed to us in the film in that sense, but Margot and Mark, what will happen after the film, after the set of events here, and will they kind of remain together, or would it be kind of this traumatic experience attached, this shame, this guilt to this whole affair, or not necessarily the affair, but the whole, kind of all the shenanigans in that sense. I'm trying to say, because yes, it's a very shocking and brutal outcome, of course, and even though, of course, Margot wanted to be with Mark, it is the sense of guilt, perhaps, and how things have happened. Things have turned out, for Tony, of course. The fact that the affair led to that, of course, it was an extreme reaction, but in that sense, she perhaps herself feels a bit of guilt for that, and it's a wonderful way, subtle way in which it's done at times, and as I say, I love the visuals to this film. Dmitry Tiomkin as well, providing the score, and of course you've got Tiomkin and Bernard Herrmann being the two main you know, kind of composers throughout, you know, Hitchcock's, kind of big films. And I think, once again, Dimitri Compion, you know, is just giving such a great score. You know, at times, you know, there are moments where there is no real, you know, score, and you know, it's just wonderful use of silence, and just focusing on the characters, the dialogue. But you know, at the same time, we have moments that are just truly wonderful, uplifting, and yeah, kind of this grand feeling. You know, very much theatrical film at times, and I love the combination. You know, of kind of small scale. You know, of the kind of the big scope, you know, of the film, and how this is such a kind of massive event. All this planning and all this kind of all these bells and whistles, you know, kind of around this very, you know, kind of dark, you know, plan here, and then of course things, you could say as things go on, you know, it becomes more and more investing, but it is more, even more personal, you know, and just affecting, you know, quite an emotional film this actually, and you know, very unexpected feeling, you know, throughout the film that I got, you know, the first time around. I was thinking these characters are all deceiving me, you know, deceiving others, but you know, it's so kind of involving emotionally, and you know, I was so invested, you know, in the characters, and just you know, so for narrative, you know, I was just glued to the screen, you know, just on the edge of my seat, and you know, this is Alfred Hitchcock, you know, just what he done, you know, kind of unique, you know, artist visually, of course, you know, exploring different characters, emotions, you know, that I don't really see in any other film, and yeah, just at the same time providing, you know, at his best, you know, just some of the most, you know, kind of pleasing, charming, comforting, and you know, intense thrillers, of course, and you know, dabbling with many different genres, not just the master of suspense, but you know, he was some master of suspense. Let me just say, you know, the way he kind of revealed information and played on that, and kept the audience kind of going along, you know, kind of dragging them through, you know, unbearable amounts of tension, and then of course the relief at the end of a lot of his films, and at the same time, just like this one, you know, relief, but you know, kind of an underlying dark effect at the end, and one that is kind of disturbing, even in that final moment, you know, of course, and things, you know, are okay for them, but are they? That kind of feeling, and I just love the dialogue. I love how we have, you know, once again going back to that first conversation, just how they're kind of talking on the fact that they were acquaintances, you know, at Cambridge. You know, I love how that kind of plays out, and just the kind of transformation, the way in which that escalates the conversation. This is a real genius, you know, a mastery here. You know, what Hitchcock is doing with dialogue sequences, and how things are escalating, and then you know, how he's then working around that. You know, the angles, the kind of way in which things escalate visually, as well as, you know, the dialogue, the tone, you know, and I think the tone of this film, it really is remarkable, and you know, I think, as I say, it has so much going on, a perfect balance, you know, of comedy and charm, with, you know, a real dark thriller here, and you know, kind of a real kind of mystery film at times, but you know, we're given a lot of information as well, more than most Hitchcock films, and you know, despite that, you know, it works perfectly, and you know, it truly is, for me, among the greatest, you know, thriller films ever made. And so yes, you know, I truly love this film. Every single element, you know, for me, is perfect. It really is, and I think, you know, it's just something about this film that's so comforting, and you know, real, you know, dark film. This very, very dark and kind of disturbing, but you know, it's full of heart. That's the thing, full of humanity, a real morality tale. This one, and dealing with consequence, of course, you know, and someone, or different characters, trying to go to, what lengths will they go to kind of cover their backs, and to kind of carry out their plans, in that sense, and you know, how people use each other, and you know, just of course, Charles is a pawn as well, you know, being used by Tony, and all these different things that are going on. You know, it's such a kind of deep, layered film, and as well, just a kind of purely enjoyable, you know, thriller film that is so charming, of course, and so, you know, jolly at times, and you know, it's just really is. I love the use of humour in the film. Of course, Inspector, you know, Hubbard, you know, he is truly such a great character. I love how he kind of interacts later on. You know, with Ray, and you know, at the same time as well with Margot especially, and he does, you know, kind of, that's what we'll say as well about you know, the Inspector. He does really kind of care about for example, Margot, and Mark as well to an extent, and he is quite a presence, I must say, later on in the film, and it's one of these just charming characters, that you see in a Hitchcock film, and John Williams, in this film, he is just so great, and I love this actor here, and I think, as I say, the acting all round is stunning, and it really is. It's a film you feel, it really is, and I think just visually masterful. The score, everything about this film, the script, and all the different camera, the setups, the angles, and the push-ins, the plan itself, all the details, the items throughout the film, and I think just the climax itself does not disappoint, and it leaves you with more emotions than you perhaps would have thought, and not just this kind of satisfying relief of this tension, but other things as well, and underlying kind of feelings that are very, very disturbing, you could say, and it really is. It's a one that makes you kind of think about things afterwards, and just as well looking back on this this film, as I say, 2017, just a few years ago now, but very nostalgic in the sense for me. It's a film that I could watch constantly. Really, I can't wait to see this film again. That's what I'll say, and it's a film that stuck with me, as I say, the first time I saw it, and was always thinking about this film in the back of my mind, when thinking of Hitchcock, of course, his filmography, and just a film that, after seeing it again, it's just one of those films, those Hitchcock films, there's quite a few of them that I'm just obsessed with, and, I truly, truly love this, a real comforting film, as I've said, and, a real kind of, thrilling piece of cinema. This is just a masterpiece for me. It's mind-blowing, and it dazzles, it really does, and it looks wonderful, and just the dialogue, every single performance in this film, and just this entire narrative and the way it unfolds, kind of shifts shape as well, and just the way in which kind of it culminates. It's all stunning, and an absolute masterwork, no doubt, and yes, my final rating for this film, for Dawson for Murder, is 100% plus Tier 2. So yes, extremely high score from me. I do think this is one of the many masterpieces, but it's definitely fairly high on my ranking so far, and I don't imagine that kind of changing really, and I think this is just the same year as Rear Window as well. Wow, that he released this film, and just what can I say? This is of course his greatest decade for me as well. The 50s. For pretty much any director, this could be a contender for the best decade of a single filmmaker in that sense. If I made a list for that, just what someone achieved in a particular decade alone. Just Stranger on a Train, To Catch a Thief, Rear Window, Vertigo, Northbound of West, The Man Who Knew Too Much, the remake, of course. This film, it's just wow. Truly, truly stunning. The Trouble with Harry, an underrated masterpiece as well. Wow, and that's just one decade. Of course, he was going in the silent era, and the 30s, the 40s, the 60s, creating some of his very, very best films. Of course, and Psycho, of course, being the first film of the 60s that he made, and all these films, these decades of Hitchcock being an absolute master, and then the film that is his most famous, being Psycho, quite a bit into his filmography, really near the end of his filmography. It's stunning. It really is. It's almost baffling, but it's something to behold. And once again, it's another masterpiece. This film, and I'd highly recommend it if you've not seen this film. Of course, and you're kind of skimming around. I must say, just give this one a go, and it really is a stunning piece of work, and once again, Hitchcock delivering an absolute premium masterpiece of a thriller, and many more things within it, and yes, that's it for now. We'll leave it there, and I look forward to discussing this film, of course, in the future, different lists regarding Hitchcock, including, of course, the ranking, and it's pretty high in my ranking. It's not, it's not top 5, because that is, really quite solid, to be honest, but yeah, I think it really is one of my favourites, and I can say about loads of the Hitchcock films that are in the kind of top 15 or so that I've seen, and I've only seen just over 20, but I imagine it'll be remain one of my favourites, and that's what I'm trying to say. Once again, a wonderful film. You know, I love this film. It's a comforting film, and truly, you know, one of the great, you know, masterful thrillers. The suspense in this film is just genius, and I really think this is just an absolute masterpiece. As I say, what do you think of this film? It'd be great to hear your thoughts, as always, in the comments. And you know, I cannot wait to discuss this film with you viewers, and to hear your thoughts. You know, your experiences with this film. And again, I watched the 2D version. You know, that's the way I roll. I don't, you know, particularly like 3D, but yeah. Having said that, I do appreciate this film, and kind of how, you know, the 3D is clearly kind of adding something to the film, at least in the way Hitchcock is approaching, you know, the staging and the blocking and all this. It's just, it really is quite something, and the design of, you know, certain visual moments in the film, and yeah, just whatever way you watch this film, you know, Blu-ray, DVD, etc. You know, it'd be great to hear your thoughts and discuss this film and Hitchcock films and cinema. So yes, as always, take care and thanks for watching.